It's another coffee chat, and I'm Chris Waddell for NAC TV, and I've finally gotten around to tracking down and making time for our Platinum Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Award medal winners. And today I have the pleasure of having Ray Drayson, and he was the first one on the list. That's partly why Ray is the first one. Thank you for coming in this morning, Ray.
Thank you for having me in.
Well, it's. I think we've known you for a long time.
Yep.
You were here before us, but we've known you. And this Queen's Jubilee, we'll get to the actual medal in a minute. We'll have it up to show people. But I went online and I checked. And the summary justification of the award, one sentence. Ray has served many years as a municipal councillor and also sits on many other boards and volunteers his time within his community. That sums it up.
I guess so, yeah.
But municipally, you were on Langford.
Yep.
And you were there as a councillor.
Yep.
As a councillor. And how many years, Ray? Can you remember when it started?
Started in 94.
94? Okay.
Yep. That's when I started to be councillor, and then amalgamated 8 years ago.
8 years ago, and you were a councillor?
Councillor up until last fall.
Last fall, and now your position is?
I've taken on Reeve now.
You're now Reeve, and the amalgamation is 8 years old, so that should be going.
It's going good. Yep.
It's going good. You've got a very, very good geographic area. And for those of you who don't know, the geographic area is all the way from just south of Neepawa.
Actually, just on the north side of Neepawa, the correction line in Neepawa.
The correction line of Neepawa, okay, and all the way
south to about 5 miles south of Carberry.
5 miles south of Carberry,
approximately.
To the
1
west,
mile west of the Arden Ridge, and to Franklin.
All the way to Franklin. So it takes a fairly large geographic area.
Yeah.
And the town of Carberry is within it.
Yep.
And the town of Neepawa.
Yep.
And the village of Brookdale.
Yep.
And is Franklin in it, or
No,
it's on the other side of the line?
Wellwood and Edrins also, and Oberon.
And Oberon. So there are several little villages that are included in that.
Yep.
Now, 94, you became a councillor. What other involvement? You've been on a lot of things, and you were saying earlier in our discussion before that you weren't at the founding meetings. You've been involved with the Yellowhead Arena. That involvement now, how did that all come about, that you started getting involved with that?
It was when our kids were younger and skating and that, where I became the rep for that part of the board.
Okay.
That's when I started, and that would have been in, 93, 94, somewhere in that ballpark too.
Okay, about the same time. So what kind of things can you see having been done with the Yellowhead in those, well, I have to think how many years that is, 30 years nearly?
One of the biggest things that came about that I took a lot of satisfaction on behalf of the Yellowhead with the people involved was starting up of the airport farming project.
The airport farming project. Now, that sounds like a strange thing, farming on an airport. Can you explain that to me? I'm not sure I fully understand.
There was a group of 3 of us in the day. The town of Neepawa owns the airport land, and there's 360 acres of farmable land out there.
Okay.
So we approached the town of the Neepawa as a contingency, the 3 of us, to go and talk to them and see if we could rent that land and farm it to the best of our ability, and all proceeds at the time for the first 10 years went to the Yellowhead Centre alone.
Okay.
After that, the curling rink came on board.
And the curling rink as well. Now, there's a lot of inputs involved with putting in a crop and taking it off. How did you cover those? From the proceeds, or?
In the day, we did a lot of going out and talking to chemical companies, fertilizer, fuel companies, and everything would have been donated in the day.
Okay.
And the local farmers participated in the seeding and the harvesting, and so there was basically no expenses other than the rent to the town of Neepawa,
Okay.
which was minimum rent in the day. So,
So, and it's still going on today.
yep, still going on today.
Are you still involved with the Yellowhead Board?
I got off last year.
You got off. Well, now with the position of Reeve, there's you always did your job as a counselor, I'm sure, but there's a little difference, and with the larger municipality, it would make a difference.
Not a whole. It doesn't make a lot of difference. You still got your basic boards that you participate in,
Yeah.
and everybody would do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anybody special to do that
No.
job. Just be willing to go and talk to people.
Now, I always find it interesting that people who are involved often have families that were involved. And I think back to the Drayson name that was involved in things, and they may be aunts and uncles, I don't know. But your family's been fairly involved historically.
Well, I think you can go back on pretty near anybody's family and
Yeah.
start looking. My dad was a Reeve. My grandpa was a counselor in the day. Some of the other families that we're connected to, they all did the same things. They've been Reeves, they've been counselors, they sat on boards, they participated in organizations, and everybody's been involved,
Yeah.
not just our family.
No, but you, for some reason, our member of the legislature chose you along with 9 others to put forward to represent. You're not alone. There's 10 from the area that are being recognized for this, and I know you downplay it. You're very you're very humble about your achievements because you see it as teamwork. At all times you see it as teamwork, and that's appreciated, and that's probably one of the reasons why people get on board with things that you're involved with, because they know that you won't take over and just do it. You'll include everybody. You're inclusive in that.
That's always been my belief. Give
Yeah.
everybody a chance to speak and
Yeah.
work together, talk to people.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Very important to do that. And other things that have gone on now, we think of the town of Neepawa and the municipalities, but this area is unique, isn't it?
We have a very unique, and it's just been magnified or whatever in the last 15 years or so with High Life moving in, and it's a unique situation that we're in around here with the immigrants coming and working, the expansion of the town of Neepawa. You got to have the town, you got to have the municipalities all together. You can't do it by yourself.
No. I noticed from the time we moved here in 71 that a lot of things are Neepawan area.
Yep.
Beautiful plains, which we've kind of dropped that designation, but it's still, and a lot of the beautiful plains is south of Neepawa in your municipality, in the
Yeah.
municipality you live in. And you've lived, your family's lived in that area
Since the late 1800s.
since the late
My
1800s.
great-grandfather settled here.
Yeah.
And we live on the original farm when
Okay.
he came to this country.
So it's more than a centennial farm. It's well past that now.
It's not a centennial farm because we had, in the day back in the middle 60s, another family owned it for 5 to 10 years. So we can't get a centennial farm.
So that little gap.
But that's not
But
the end of the world.
But you do know very well that it's home territory, and that's where
Oh,
you
yeah.
belong.
Yep.
No, this is now you've been involved in some other boards that are joint. what are some of the other ones? The county court building.
Yeah, we're still on that board. Yeah, there's county court, medical clinic. Where do you want to go? Doctor retention.
Oh.
There was a Yellowhead there. The planning board when we were with Neepawa. Now
Okay, you're with.
we're with Cypress now, but we're
okay.
still on the planning board, and just numerous boards that happen to be part of and do the discussions. And
Yeah. You brought in an interesting book that is from your father's collection. And it's the Beautiful Plains County Court Building history. And I don't think that's in our Banner Library. And about our heritage. So that's a valuable little piece of history, isn't it? That and
it's a unique building to this country because there's only 2 of those in Canada with that structure.
oh, okay. It's
I think the other one's in Carmen or Morden or Winkler or somewhere else.
okay. So
It's in the book there, so
because I think it's hitting another birthday again that we aren't
coming close, yeah.
coming close to a celebration of. I can't remember what the year is. We were discussing that the other day. And another one that you brought in is 50th anniversary of the United Church, and that's the old
Yep.
United Church building there. So your family's been involved with the faith community as well
Yep.
over the years. Now, I think back, the name Susan Drayson comes to mind. Is that an aunt? Or
Yeah, that was my aunt.
that's
Yeah.
an aunt. So
Yep.
because I think
My dad's brother's wife.
your dad's brother's wife.
Yep.
And Elks Manor, that was your uncle as well that was involved with that?
That was
Or
my dad.
that was your dad. There's another one that's a significant place in our community.
Yep.
Is Elks Manor on the corner of Mountain and the Highway.
Yeah.
There's people, I don't know if there's any original residents to, but how many years ago is that your dad was involved setting that up?
I'm not just sure. That was 1990, was it, or somewhere in that
Yeah.
ballpark when it was built? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
But they had a real good group of people together
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
but did you belong to any of the service clubs like your dad was obviously in?
Member of the Elks and the
You wa-
Legion. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the Legion is still going very strong.
They're doing well. Yeah.
Have you stayed involved with the Legion?
I have never been on the board of the
Not
Legion.
on the
no,
board,
no.
but
Dad was chairman of it for a few years and
yeah.
part of the Elks and stuff like that too. So
As a child, were you involved in 4-H or cadets or any of those things?
we did all that. Yeah. 4-H, Air Cadets. Yeah.
Which area? 4-H calf club,
Yeah. Beef clubs. Yeah.
beef club. Now you're farming. You've wound down the farming
Yeah. We retired 4 years ago. Yeah.
4 years through
Yep.
farming. What kind of farming did you do?
We were mixed and we were pedigreed seed growers.
Pedigreed
Our family
seed.
was.
Okay.
And that was my brother and my cousin and myself involved in that.
Drayson.
After we had taken over from my dad and uncle.
Oh, okay. So you've done some significant stuff in that way as a family, as not yourself, but as a group. Again, always as a group. You're a team player.
There were a lot of firsts in our family over the years. We brought, and I'll just use an example as the faba beans.
Okay.
There was my uncle and dad and Graham and Radcliffe from Newdale brought them over from Germany in the middle 70s. And
now
reproduced, and now they're a crop in some parts of Canada, yeah.
Yeah, and now soybean is kind of taken over as the one that everyone knows.
Yeah.
But I remember faba beans, and
Well, faba beans were a feed. Soybeans are more for the oil seed. So
okay. Well, I can remember making faba bean soup.
Yep.
You would have worked with Alan Nebbs then,
yep,
a former
ag rep in Neepawa.
ag
Yep.
rep in Neepawa.
Yep.
So you've done a lot of things in a lot of areas. Now, you were involved with the Yellowhead as part of that committee and the airport
Yeah.
committee group. And for the medical clinic, that's been a real joint effort with all the RMs in the town, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's Rosedale, Lansdowne, and Langford in the day in the town of Neepaw, yeah.
Like
And that's brought the medical clinic where it is today, but the staff there have been a major thing to keep that going and give us ideas
okay. So
as to what the expansions might look like and everything.
So you'll be quite pleased with the most recent announcement that's been made about our hospital.
Yeah. That clinic was started in 1970, I think.
Okay.
And we had a meeting down there the other day and went through it and looked at the footprint from where it used to be to today. And that waiting room that you wait in now with the receptionist used to be the clinic.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
So it's...
And there would have been how many doctors in there at that time?
I'm not just sure back then. I think there was only 2 or 3 doctors maybe in the day.
Yeah, because some of them had their own clinics, their own offices outside the clinic.
In the day, there was only about 2 or 3 doctors in Neepaw.
Okay.
Back in the... Well, I would expect it around 1970 when it was started. So...
Okay. No, it's...
These are all guesses, date, timelines.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
You didn't. I didn't give you a set of questions because I said we were going to be winging this.
We're winging it.
We're winging it. You're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. And you brought me an interesting historic letter, which I'm going to make a copy of, from 1918. And this probably relates to your involvement in the Legion. When you and your dad's service with the Legion.
A little bit, yeah.
You had an uncle.
Not my uncle, it was my dad's uncle.
Your
my
dad,
my grandma's brother.
Your great uncle.
Andy Hawken disappeared in the First World War. And this is a copy of the letter that he sent to my grandmother. And the word of his death got back before the letter. And it's an original letter. It's kind of pretty interesting.
It makes us appreciate where we're at even more. Well, for good or bad, technology has allowed us to know what's happening everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Whereas then, a letter could leave the war front.
Yep. Wow.
And
this was wrote on the 24th of June. And I think it was around the 18th of August that he supposedly was disappeared. So, it took that long for the letter to get here.
Yes. So that's that's quite a difference from the technology. Now, when it comes to technology, you and your wife, Kelly, did an amazing job during the pandemic. And you say you were the delivery man. But that was a service to the community that I found. I didn't totally participate in it. But what did Kelly do during, to think of, she made little quizzes up and prizes?
That was all her doing.
But
she did a very good job, yes.
Oh, but she'd have questions or something, like it was some of them were guess how many candies were in the jar, I think even.
How many pork and beans were in a can? Yes.
And then people would guess on Facebook and turn around and they'd get prizes, and you got to deliver them.
Yes, I did. It was a lot of fun, and the wife got a lot of pleasure out of doing that stuff.
I don't know how many people participated, but that kind of community involvement helped people get through that. It was a pretty tough.
It was a tough go on everybody's part.
On
everybody. And everybody around Neepaw and area participated and, helped out.
Yeah. No, it's, so I don't know, we've covered some ground, but there was one interesting little fact that you introduced me to that was totally new to me, because if we haven't been around that long, that there's 2 skating rinks in Neepaw, not the flats.
Yep.
And what's the other one?
maybe you should leave that for another day, but
Oh, but
a lot of people don't realize that the other skating rink it's never been used since it came to Neepaw, but was where Jordy Vincent used to have his cars stored, the Arch Rib building out there, which is now I think owned by This and That Manufacturing.
is it This and That?
Well, Cats and TNR is in the front part of it.
Okay.
That used to be the old Mentmore skating rink.
Okay.
Doesn't have artificial ice. But
No.
that was the Mentmore rink of the day, yeah.
And then people appreciated it and had a lot of fun on it. I got a question that popped into my mind. Now, where did you attend school?
Went to Gordon School.
Gordon School, and that from Neepawa would be
7 miles west of Neepaw, or no, 6 miles west of Neepaw and 5 miles south.
and 5 miles south. So
And do you know where well,
Red
same
Prince?
thing from where the old Mentmore elevator was, a mile north and 2 miles west. Or the
where
spruce
oak-
tree on the corner and go so far, yeah.
where the tree used to be, and yeah,
Back then there used to be a school about every 6 miles apart.
yes,
And there was 16 kids in our school.
okay,
And we had, well, Joy Diath was our grade 1 teacher.
okay,
And Monica Gordon was a teacher.
okay,
Wilma McLaughlin was a teacher that I can remember. And it closed in 67, I'm
yeah,
thinking.
amalgamation,
And that's when we started coming to Neepaw, yeah.
okay. So no, that's and you got involved with farming out of school, and
Yeah, that was just one thing that you sort of did.
You did.
Worked off the farm for a few years, just different business around Neepaw. And
So
enjoyed life.
enjoyed life, but I think you've had a lot of good things happen in your life, and anything that was bad you've dealt with and moved on and handled it. So
It's just
part
it's the same with everybody. It's just par for the course. You just
par for the
go
course.
with the flow, talk to people, make the best of everything, and enjoy it.
Well,
Meet people.
yeah, you just do that. Now I'm going to hold up this medal. Actually, no, I'll hold up. Ray said he was not going to go on the camera, and we will have a close-up of this probably at the beginning. But it's a beautiful two-faced medal with the Queen on the one side and the Manitoba shield on the other side. And I believe 80 people in Manitoba received this, and our member of the legislature, Eileen Clark, presented it to 10 people in our constituency. Thank you. I should know the word. And Ray was at the top of the list. That's how he's first in line. He's also was available. It's budget time and teacher hiring time for the school.
I have nothing to do with the teachers.
You have nothing to do with it. You never were on school board.
Nope, just
You
ride
never
school
were on
bus.
school
So
board. Oh, well, you get to deal with some students. Do you still do that?
just spare, yeah.
You're a spare on, so there you go. Another thing where you get involved with the community in a different way. Because a school bus driver can have quite an influence on how a child's day begins and ends.
Well, I don't have a regular route. I do a
No.
lot of the trips to the city, to the legislature, and human rights, and Forks and Lower Fort Garry, and I've been a lot of places on a school bus that I would never go on my own.
Never would have thought of that as one of the perks of being a school bus driver.
Met a lot of people. Yep. Had a lot of fun.
Hey, if you're not having, what is it? If you're not having fun or making money, why do it? And sometimes
I don't know
it's
about
only
the
the fun.
making money,
Yeah, I
but
don't
it's
know
the
about the
fun
making
part's
money.
the biggest
No.
thing.
Well, I appreciate you taking time. I know you've got another appointment after this.
Yep.
And so we appreciate you taking time. What does this say? Ray Drayson. I'll read the English side.
I want to hear the French.
Par ordre de la Lieutenant Governor de la... No, I won't do that to my francophone friends. By command of the Lieutenant Governor of the Province of Manitoba, the Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee Medal for Manitoba is hereby conferred upon you in commemoration of the 70th anniversary of Her Majesty's ascension to the throne as Queen of Canada, and in recognition of your valuable contribution to the province. The Honourable Janice C. Filmon, Lieutenant Governor, 1952 to 2022, Viva Regina. And it's signed by our then Lieutenant Governor, Janice Filmon. That's a pretty special document. You may not feel that you did anything for it, but I think you've lived a good life and contributed wherever you could, whether it was delivering gifts during a pandemic, prizes during a pandemic, or children to the legislative buildings or the Human Rights Museum, or helping with a committee that is concerned about retention and recruitment of doctors in our community, and in your municipality as serving. So I think you're as deserving as the next person, and you've been recognized for that. So thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time this morning. I know this is not your ballywick, but thank you for
No, thank you for the opportunity for saying those kind words. Thank you very much.
and congratulations again,
Thank you.
and onward and upward, and see what the next chapter brings. So thank you to everyone who's watched today, and we'll see if we can track down some of those other recipients in their lives. So this is Chris Waddell for Coffee Chat for today. Thank you.
Thank you.